Imagine waking up feeling utterly stuck. You know that nagging sense that life is just happening to you, not really for you. You've got ideas, goals, maybe a growing list of things frustrating you, but you just can't seem to shift into gear. What if we told you that the power to change this isn't some elusive trait you're born with? What if it's actually a skill you can learn and develop?
That's exactly right. What we're talking about today is agency. And put simply, it's your ability to take initiative, to make choices, and crucially, to be responsible for your actions. It's about being the lead actor in your own life story, not just feeling like a passive audience member or a consumer of whatever circumstances come your way. And really, this power, this ability to influence your own path, it's absolutely fundamental for your overall well-being.
So for this deep dive, we're going to unpack what often holds us back from feeling that sense of control. And maybe more importantly, we're going to share some actionable insights, some surprising real-world examples too. We'll be drawing from some fascinating sources, psychology, health, even education, all designed to help you cultivate a really profound sense of agency in your own life. Ready to dig in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so to really get agency, we kind of need to understand its opposite, its shadow side, learned helplessness. Picture it like this. It's a mental state you can fall into after you've repeatedly experienced stressful situations you genuinely couldn't control.
Right.
And the really chilling part is you then stop trying to change things, even when opportunities for relief actually appear. It's a heavy state. It can lead to low self-esteem, a real drop in motivation, sometimes even finding it hard to ask for help when you really need it.
It's such a powerful phenomenon, and its discovery really came from some groundbreaking research by psychologist Martin Seligman back in 1967. He was studying dogs. It's quite stark, actually. He divided dogs into 3 groups. Group 1, they were just harnessed and then let go. No big deal for them.
Okay. Simple enough.
Group 2 received electric shocks, but, and this is key, they could learn to stop these shocks just by pressing a lever. They had some control.
Right, they could do something about it.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting. Group 3, they were paired with Group 2. They received the exact same electric shocks, same intensity, same duration, but their lever. It did absolutely nothing.
Wow.
For them, the shock seemed totally random and utterly inescapable no matter what they did.
So completely out of their control.
Completely. Then, in the second part of the study, all 3 groups were put in these boxes with 2 sections. One side delivered shocks, the other was safe. Now, the dogs from the first 2 groups, the ones who had either no shocks or had control, they quickly learned to jump over the barrier to the safe side.
Makes sense.
But the dogs from Group 3, the ones who'd experienced those inescapable shocks,
Well, they do.
they just passively laid down. They whined when they got shocked, but they didn't even try to escape. They had learned helplessness.
That's chilling.
It is. And the only way the researchers could cure them, so to speak, was to physically lift their legs and move them over the barrier multiple times. Eventually, after being shown repeatedly that escape was possible, they started jumping on their own.
That experiment. Wow. It's uncomfortable, but it provides such a clear parallel to human experiences, doesn't it?
It really does.
You think about a child who struggles again and again with math and eventually just believes they can't improve no matter what. Or someone trying to manage their weight. Maybe they've tried countless diets and they just feel like there's no way I can ever get in better shape. It feels hopeless.
Exactly. Or job seekers facing rejection after rejection. They might just give up entirely, even when good opportunities are still out there.
Right. So what Seligman's work really drives home is this. If helplessness can be learned,
then agency can absolutely be unlearned and, more importantly, relearned.
yes, it truly is a skill, something you can cultivate, not just a fixed trait you either have or don't.
Precisely. And a key step in unlearning that helplessness and really building up your agency is changing your attributional style, or sometimes called your explanatory style.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
It's basically how you explain the causes of events in your life, why things happen. And it rests on 3 really vital pillars. First, it's about understanding that often it's not personal. So instead of blaming yourself internally like, I failed that exam because I'm just terrible at math, you shift to looking at external factors. Maybe I failed because I didn't have the right study materials or the support I needed.
Okay, so looking outward sometimes, not always inward.
Exactly. The second pillar is realizing it's not permanent.
Ah,
This means moving away from a fixed, forever outlook. Instead of thinking, I'm just bad at public speaking, full stop, you frame it temporarily. Maybe I wasn't comfortable during that specific presentation because I didn't know the material inside out. I'll practice more next time, and I will improve.
So viewing it as a specific instance, not a life sentence.
Precisely.
Right.
And the third pillar, it's not pervasive.
Not pervasive.
Meaning it doesn't spread to everything. You need to distinguish between these big global statements like, I just don't like traveling, and more specific local ones like, you know what, I didn't enjoy that particular trip. Recognizing this distinction frees you up. It means one negative experience doesn't have to define all similar future ones. You can try again in a different context.
That makes a lot of sense. Personal, permanent, pervasive, changing how we explain things. Okay, so beyond how you attribute events, building agency also means, getting a better handle on your emotions and beliefs.
Absolutely.
It's actually surprising how many of us operate from these unconscious beliefs that quietly hold us back. Things like, oh, I'm too old to learn a new skill. Or maybe nobody will ever want a relationship with me. These thoughts can just silently steer us away from opportunities.
And they feel so real.
They do. And we're often driven by unconscious emotions too. Fear, worry, maybe sadness, which can just drain our energy, make us feel overwhelmed, and really hurt our sense of agency.
Yeah, increasing your self-awareness around these hidden emotions and beliefs is incredibly powerful. It really helps you understand how they're driving your thinking, how they influence your behavior, even affect your judgment. And ultimately, that awareness leads to greater confidence. A simple technique is just to pause. When those negative emotions bubble up, just pause and question them.
Instead of just accepting them.
Right. Instead of automatically accepting anger or just dwelling on it, ask yourself, okay, why am I really feeling this way? Am I maybe pressuring myself too much? Do my beliefs or expectations here need a little adjustment? You can practice simple things too, like slow, deep breaths, maybe finding a quiet space for a minute, consciously releasing muscle tension. These things relax you, they enhance self-control, and they put you more in charge of what you feel and think.
This also connects to something you mentioned earlier, checking your intuition.
Yes.
Can you talk more about that? Because intuition feels like this mysterious thing.
Well, think of intuition as this deep inner knowledge, almost like a vast database of information our brains have gathered over our entire lives.
Yeah.
And when you use it wisely, it can be a huge boost to creativity and help you make really important decisions that directly increases your agency.
Like that gut feeling. We all know that feeling, right? Like you meet someone new, maybe a potential boss, and you immediately sense, uh-oh, this might be bad news.
Exactly. That visceral gut feeling can definitely be useful. But here's the perhaps surprising truth. That gut feeling, powerful as it is, can sometimes be your worst enemy, especially when your emotions are running high.
Ah, okay. So it's not always reliable.
Not always. The real skill is knowing when to trust that quick read, and crucially, when to deliberately hit the pause button and say, okay, let me gather more actual information here before I jump to conclusions.
So discernment is key.
Absolutely. And there are different kinds of intuition, too. There's what you might call strategic intuition. This is more intentional. You might stop actively thinking about a really tricky work problem, let it go, and then maybe while you're out for a run or in the shower, boom, a solution just appears.
Right, when you relax.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's expert intuition. This comes after years and years of dedicated practice in a specific skill. Here, less conscious parts of your brain kind of take over, allowing you to perform really complex actions almost automatically without consciously thinking through every single step. But again, this works best when you're calm. So the takeaway is you can get better at using intuition to inform your decisions, but it involves learning to quiet your mind and developing a greater awareness of what you're actually thinking and feeling.
That makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Looking at our external environment is also crucial for agency, starting with what you call controlling stimuli.
Yes, definitely. Research really shows that just having your phone physically present while you're trying to work distracts you. It interferes with your ability to think deeply.
Even if it's off or face down.
Even then, its mere presence can pull your attention. On the flip side, taking a walk, especially outdoors in nature, is a fantastic way to restore depleted attention.
So practical steps.
Actively seek out quiet, screen-free spaces when you need to focus. Turn off those phone notifications, at least during work blocks. Maybe even avoid loud cafeterias if you find them draining. Take control of your sensory input.
And closely related to that is who we spend our time with, the idea of associating selectively.
Oh, hugely important. Our emotions are, in a way, contagious. Our brains actually tend to sync up with the people around us.
Really? Cinching up.
Yeah, it's called neural coupling. So this means you should actively set boundaries with people you find consistently difficult or draining. Maybe disengage from relentlessly negative online interactions and be really mindful of groupthink.
Ah, groupthink, where everyone just nods along.
Exactly. Everyone on a team nods along to an idea, even if they have private doubts, just to keep the peace or avoid conflict. That erodes individual agency.
But the alternative is?
Surround yourself with people who genuinely encourage you. Friends, family, communities that nurture your talents, affirm your values, and maybe even give you a gentle reality check when you're stuck in negative thinking patterns.
It sounds like choosing your tribe carefully.
It really is. Think of that old analogy, the crabs in a bucket.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Right. If you put more than one crab in a bucket, when one tries to climb out, the others will literally pull it back down. Humans can do the same thing, but metaphorically, with words. Holding each other back with limiting beliefs, sometimes unintentionally.
We worry so much about what others think.
We do. We imagine all these constraints that aren't really there, paralyzed by fearing what others will think or say. But here's the harsh and sometimes liberating truth. Often, no one cares nearly as much as we think they do.
Huh. Is that really true?
Well, think about it. There are actually exercises from cognitive behavioral therapy for social anxiety that illustrate this beautifully. Things like loudly announcing every single stop on a long train ride, or wearing a completely out-of-place masquerade outfit for a normal day out.
Seriously, people do that.
Yes. The point isn't to enjoy the attention, it's to notice how quickly that attention fades. Nobody remembers you later, maybe just the weird outfit or the noise. There are usually no lasting repercussions. It helps break down those imagined social constraints.
That's a great, slightly humorous way to think about it.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk on the physical side of agency. This is a huge move.
Yes. Crucial.
Physical movement, along with getting proper rest and good nutrition, really helps balance your body and mind. It gives you greater motivation, strength, stamina, all things that fuel agency.
Absolutely. We know sitting a lot is really detrimental to health.
But even just short breaks from being inactive, like getting up to stretch every hour, walking around the block, they're incredibly beneficial.
Mm-hmm. And studies even suggest that regular exercise can lead to greater self-control, which is absolutely key to agency.
And here's a practical thought. If you're dealing with a conflict at work, maybe try a walking meeting instead of sitting across a table.
Yeah.
It might actually help mitigate some of the tension.
That's a great idea. Movement changes the dynamic. And remember, exercise boosts serotonin.
Right, the mood stabilizer.
Exactly. That neurotransmitter helps stabilize your mood, builds resilience, and gives you that inner oomph you need to combat feelings of learned helplessness.
So move your body, boost your agency. Makes sense.
Another really critical practice for cultivating agency is to consciously position yourself as a learner.
What does that look like?
Individuals who have high levels of agency are almost always continuously learning. They're expanding their capacity, and they do it through an open, collaborative approach to life. This means actively nurturing your curiosity, exploring new ideas, learning from others by asking really open-ended questions, and trying hard to avoid making quick judgments.
It sounds like embracing a growth mindset.
That's exactly it. Recognizing that you're always a work in progress, always capable of learning and changing. And if things like perfectionism or a deep fear of failure are holding you back, techniques from mindfulness or CBT can really help you put mistakes into perspective and see them as learning opportunities, not catastrophes.
Okay, that's powerful. Now let's shift slightly. How is agency cultivated in more, let's say, structured settings? Starting with therapy. How does a therapist actually help someone build their sense of agency?
That's a great question. In cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, therapists actively work to enhance a client's agency using specific communication techniques. They're often called formulations.
Formulation.
Yeah. There are two main types. The first are affirmative formulations. This is where the therapist deliberately highlights the positive aspects of something the client describes, really endorsing their competence and their active role.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine a client with depressive symptoms describes maybe cleaning her home as a way to manage her mood. The therapist might rephrase her account slightly. Instead of just agreeing, they might say, "And then you were delighted," really emphasizing the positive outcome. Or they might upgrade the client, saying she realized she could deal with it to something stronger, like she had an epiphany.
Ah, so subtly reframing her as the active agent.
Exactly. It paints her as actively participating in her own recovery journey. The second type are challenging formulations. Here, the therapist might rephrase a client's perhaps implausible views or descriptions of misbehaviors in a way that makes them sound obviously unreasonable. The goal is to gently foster awareness.
Okay, like what?
Imagine a client with anxiety and neurosis who feels like a total loser compared to their peers, using absolute words like, all of them are successful.
Right, black and white thinking.
The therapist might first gently challenge the comparison itself, maybe saying, don't compare with others, comparisons are often unhelpful. Then they might formulate it like this. If everyone compared themselves with everyone else for everything, then life would become extremely exhausting, wouldn't it?
That forces you to see the absurdity.
Precisely. It prompts the client to agree and maybe reconsider that pattern of comparing. These kinds of formulations guide clients to see their own capacity for change and different perspectives.
That's fascinating. Just the careful use of language can make such a difference. And it's not just in therapy, right? We see this cultivation of agency in educational settings, too. You mentioned the University of Louisville's Peer Educator Program, PPP. What makes that program stand out?
It's a really powerful example because it explicitly positions undergraduate students as responsible actors and intentional partners in learning. These students, they come from all sorts of different majors, and they actually train to co-design and then lead bonus instruction sessions for large introductory courses.
Co-design and lead. So they're really taking charge.
Completely. And crucially, the faculty members don't attend these sessions. That absence genuinely empowers the student leaders. There are great stories, like peer educators realizing that what they thought was a whiteboard in the room was actually a fancy smartboard they didn't know how to use.
Uh-oh.
Right. They had to quickly adapt their lesson plan on the fly, turning a potential disaster into a real opportunity for collaborative problem solving and growth.
Learning by doing. Literally.
Exactly. Or another group designed this amazing scavenger hunt at the local speed art museum for a session on gender concepts, allowing the students in the class to apply abstract ideas in a really unique, real-world setting.
That sounds way more engaging than just a lecture.
Absolutely. And the benefits are clear. The peer educators themselves develop practical skills, time management, public speaking, troubleshooting. They deepen their own understanding of the course content, and they learn to reframe mistakes as just part of the process.
And for the students they're teaching.
For the students attending these sessions, it fosters a real sense of connection and belonging. They feel valued, they learn collaboratively. I heard about one group using a beach ball game to teach memory tricks, and they often feel more comfortable asking questions of their peers than they might of a professor.
So it empowers everyone involved.
It really does. They're taking learning into their own hands.
Okay, so we've covered mindset shifts, our environment, specific practices in therapy and education. Now, let's bring it right down to everyday actions. Are there concrete, practical exercises someone listening can do to directly practice agency, maybe step outside their comfort zone a bit?
Absolutely. And these don't have to be huge, life-altering things. Think of them as small experiments, little acts that help break those imaginary constraints we talked about and build confidence.
Like what kind of things?
Okay, you could try asking for a 10% discount the next time you buy a coffee. Or maybe even make it a habit, ask for a small discount on small purchases occasionally. See what happens.
Okay, that feels a bit uncomfortable, but I see the point.
Exactly. Or pick a random, maybe slightly strange spot on a local map and just go there, explore it. Or buy and wear an unreasonably expensive outfit, something maybe fancier than you normally would just because you want to for a normal day.
Okay, challenging those internal shoulds and shouldn'ts.
Precisely. Spend a day completely alone in nature, or if you're feeling bolder, travel to a foreign country solo. Give a complete stranger a genuine compliment. Or walk up to someone at your local gym and ask for help or advice on an exercise.
These sound like ways to prove to yourself that you can act, even when it feels a bit weird or scary.
That's exactly it. They're not magic bullets, but they are deliberate steps that expand your comfort zone little by little. They show you that you often have more power and influence than you might typically assume.
Right, building that muscle of action.
Which leads us perfectly to the final, really crucial step in developing agency, learning to deliberate, then act.
Deliberate, then act. What's the challenge here?
Well, people with lower agency often get stuck in one of two modes. They might procrastinate indefinitely, obsessing over every tiny detail, worrying endlessly during decision-making, never actually pulling the trigger, analysis paralysis.
Been there.
We all have. Or, on the flip side, they might act too impulsively without enough thought, maybe driven by emotion, and then regret it later.
So finding that balance.
Finding the balance, and that's where the deliberation comes in first. When you're facing a really important decision like, where should I move? How do I advance my career? It's incredibly helpful to stop and truly deliberate first.
How do you do that effectively?
Create an environment that's actually conducive to reflection. Make sure your emotions are relatively calm. Don't make big decisions when you're highly stressed or upset.
Good advice.
Then clarify your primary objective. What are you actually trying to achieve? Gather the relevant facts. Generate multiple options. Don't just fixate on one path.
Right.
Be mindful of whether strong emotions or biases might be driving your thinking. Maybe write down your thoughts, your pros and cons, your decision. And then, this is important, allow your mind to rest. Let your intuition surface, maybe sleep on it. Reassess your plan later, making adjustments as needed.
But the key is not getting stuck in deliberation forever. So.
Exactly. The key is that taking action doesn't require 100% certainty. That's a myth. People with high agency will often act when they feel, say, around 80% sure, or maybe even a bit less sometimes.
80%.
Oh, yeah. They understand they can course correct later if needed, so don't over-deliberate, do your homework, reflect, then act. You can always reassess and adjust as you go.
Deliberate, then act with about 80% certainty.
Got it. So when you pull it all together, agency isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. It really is a tangible skill, something you can actively practice and cultivate throughout your life. It's about recognizing that you have this inherent power, the power to shape your thoughts, your reactions, and ultimately the direction your life takes, even when you're facing real challenges.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? It means you're not just a passive bystander in your own story. You absolutely are the protagonist. The question is, what small, deliberate act of agency will you choose to take today or this week? What imaginary constraint, big or small, will you decide to challenge in your life?
We really hope this deep dive empowers you to start asking those kinds of questions, and more importantly, to start stepping into your own power.
Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration. Until next time, keep digging deeper.